Did you know that 90% of the world's millionaires invest in real estate? Well, I'm Angel with the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks, and I'm here to help you if you want to go for your piece of that pie. Hey guys, this is Angel with the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks, and we are streaming live. After you hear this, if you want the recording, let me know, because this guy is going to drop absolute gold. Absolute gold. Super duper smart and knows everything you want to know about short sales. So this is John Culbertson, and I had the pleasure of getting to see him in person at an in-person event not that long ago, like a few weeks. So I just really impressed, and I just want everybody to have all the tools they can get to help in making investing more accessible to everyone, because this is how you get to create your options, friends. Nothing sucks worse than feeling trapped, like there's nothing you can do. And by investing in real estate, you can create your own options, and it is amazing. So I'm going to let John take it away, and I'm just excited to hear what you have to say.
Great. Well, I probably should talk a little bit about what a short sale is, how they came around. I think that's kind of important to know the history. I'm a history buff. So I'll just go with the explanation of what a short sale is. A short sale is a real estate asset, say a house, where the homeowner owes more on the house than it's worth. In other words, if the guy owes or gal owes $100,000, the value drops to $80,000. We have to negotiate with the loan servicer, the bank, to not only discount that difference of $20,000, but also to pay for closing costs and commissions to the title company, escrow company in Western states, and to the brokers, okay, and any other lien holders that might be on title. So I did my first short sale in 1994, and I was a brand new realtor. And in my submarket in Southern California at the time, you had a choice if you wanted to buy a house of a bank REO or repo or a short sale. So I picked short sales because they're hard. And not a lot of people wanted to do them. So I looked at my market segment and I go, I'm going to go where the herd isn't, where all the other competition is not going. Are they difficult? Yes. They're the most challenging real estate transactions in residential real estate. Okay. The only thing that could be any tougher than this you have to go over to commercial, either buying normal commercial or doing a commercial workout, which is a commercial short sale. They've been around a long time. They started in the commercial world in the 80s when Texas had the oil bust back then. Actually, it was a regional oil bust. And then it morphed into the residential area in the early 90s when we had the S&L crisis and in the Western U.S. and the California, they had the what they call the peace dividend after the Soviet Union fell. Aerospace and industries were flat, just laying off people left and right. So that affected that region. Any area that had that kind of manufacturing and development got hit by that. So in the early days, early 90s, you could only do a conventional short sale, a Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae. And then a couple years later, 1995 approximately, FHA and VA got on board with doing them too, okay? So fast forward to the post-2008 financial crisis, the whole country is mired in these things. So you had, again, a big slug of these things. I got back into it both feet, so I've been actively doing these again since 2009. And on my team, I have an excellent Texas real estate attorney. We need them. And also I have two good processors that process the short sales. These are very tedious transactions. There's a lot of moving parts. So all these key players on my team are very necessary. In Texas, if we got a primarily Texas audience, everyone knows that the foreclosure period is very short. The publicly noticed period is only 3 weeks. Okay. So what we've had to do with my attorney is go in and get relief from the courts to stop the foreclosure sale. That's in lieu of somebody filing a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which was the old school method we used back in the day if we got too close. So that's it in a nutshell. What I will say is to the investor community is that these are transactions that as we get into a foreclosure rich environment, you're going to find a lot of properties have no equity. That's what happens. In fact, a majority, I remember talking to George Roddy Sr., who's over here in Dallas, the foreclosure listing service. He's the guru of gurus in Texas. He's now passed. His sons are still involved in the business. At the peak in 2013 or so, 12, he told me that 85% of all foreclosures going to sale had no equity. They were upside down. So that's a lot of product that you're just going to toss in a round file and go, what do I do with this? Okay. Well, most investors just throw it away. Well, what we can do is if you find a deal like that, come to us and we will do the processing, get the deal done. If it comes in within your target market of what you want to get, then you buy the deal. Okay. So that's what we have going. You're going to see a lot of these as we come out of the moratorium. I don't know if you've talked about the moratorium in previous meetings. Have you talked about that?
I have not.
Could I talk about it?
You absolutely can.
Okay. We have gone through in this country an unprecedented time with the coronavirus. Okay. In March of this year, almost last year, the president and then the CDC came online and have had a moratorium on all federally backed loans for foreclosure and eviction. For the percentage, 80% of all residential mortgages in the US are federally backed. Federally backed are GSEs, government-sponsored enterprises like Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, and also FHA and VA, which are pure government loans, okay, government-backed loans. So 80% of all foreclosures have been held back. We were supposed to have the moratorium end tomorrow. That just got extended. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac got extended to the end of January 31st. And FHA and VA has been extended, or FHA has been extended. I'm sure VA is going to follow to the end of February. So we've got another extension. So we've got a lot of backlogged foreclosures sitting there. A lot of people in limbo. If history is our guide, and it always is, the government's probably going to come back up with a very enhanced loan modification program, which will help some homeowners. But the thing that we got to understand about loan modifications is a low percentage of them, 3% to 5%, depends on whose numbers you look at, were actually approved for modification. The problem is a loan modification is a refi in essence. It is a refi to a distressed property owner who has gone through hard times, but then has righted their financial ship. In other words, they had job loss or something happened, and now they've got back on the horse and they've got a new job and things are better and they can support the mortgage, the new mortgage payment. Okay. So that works for people in that situation. There's going to be a lot of people who won't be able to qualify. So what will happen typically is they'll go through, a lot of people go wanting to do the loan modification. They'll try that. they'll get rejected, and then they come to us. Short sale. Short sale gets them out of their situation without having a foreclosure on their credit report. When they are approved and we close a transaction, the what goes on their credit report is satisfied or settled. And as of this point in time, they're only out of the housing game for 2 years. Okay, they do a short sale. They do a foreclosure, that stays on for 7 years. So they get, and this may change. It may shorten the timeline, or they may, on a short sale, or they may lengthen the timeline. I've seen it back in the day being 3 years, you had to stay out of the market. Now, currently, it's 2 years. So we'll see how this plays out. It's way better than getting foreclosure.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually was talking about this today, even on his YouTube channel. He's in Florida, and he said that like his was extended for 6 more months.
Yeah.
And that before it was at the end, it was a lump sum payment of all of the missed payments.
Yeah, that's a forbearance.
Yeah. Okay. So, and now it's like, it's all been moved to the end as just extra payments. And when he said, I was like, oh, that's a loan modification.
Actually, what they're doing, those are our forbearances.
Oh.
Mortgage forbearances, where they get 6 months and extending them another 6 months. So some of these people who started the forbearance at the end of the last year could be, get another extension and be to the end of this coming year. The problem is traditional forbearances have been, you get a 6-month reprieve. They've been around a long time. They've been around decades, okay? In fact, in the old days when we couldn't do an FHA short sale, I'd advise them to go try a forbearance. All it's going to do is buy 6 months. In the old days, you got your 6 months reprieve. You had to pay your excuse me. You had to pay your payment plus all the arrearages within a 12-month period.
Oh wow!
So their payments are much bigger than their problems bigger than when they started. And I've always looked at traditional forbearances as a foreclosure trap. Now, they're probably going to come up back with these. In fact, they're going to come back to these people who are in forbearance, and they're probably going to offer them mods. That'll buy them more time as they go through the process. And if they don't qualify, then they're going to be advised to do a short sale.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, you said Texas only has 3 weeks. Are there other states that are shorter or longer than that?
As far as I know California and Texas. I've actually been operating in Texas longer than California, but my baptism of fire, which was very intense, was in California, and that went for 12 years. I've been here 15. California's 3 months and then 3 weeks. So there's a 3-month notice default period, and then it goes notice of trust, and then 3 weeks of notice of trustee sale at the end of that. Here, we only have a 3-week notice of trustee sale. Now, the homeowners had months and months and months of warnings and chances, and they start about a year prior to the actual sale. Okay, so it's not the homeowner. It's not a big surprise. It's just to us looking outside in. Okay, there are other indicators called in Texas. They do the removal and assignment of trustee, but that is not dependable. There's no state statute saying you must file those within 60, 90 days of the trustee sale. It's all over the map. But you can try to track those and see if you can catch them before they get filed the 3 weeks before the trustee sale.
Wow.
So
what is the trustee sale? Like, what happens with that?
Well, I used to bid at those, and I did them back in the day when there wasn't a ton of people down there and you could actually get a deal. When you go to the trustee sale, it's 100% cash. There's no financing. So you have to raise a bunch of money. And what I would do is go down with cashier's checks, large increments, and then smaller ones. So when you successfully bid on the property, you would then go to the trustee's assistant, whoever was there. There's an auctioneer and then there's staff. And you go to the staff person and you tell them how you want to take vesting in the property, or how you want to title it. Like my company's Advantex Asset Management. I tell them that. Here's the cashier's checks, and they give you a trustee's deed. That's how that works. Those right now, there's no deals there, at least in the Metroplex and in Houston, which I operate also. I don't know about your market in Wichita Falls. I'll bet it's the same or some version of it, because there's not a lot of opportunities out there right now. I'm sure, I haven't been down there in a long time. I'm sure it's even worse. There's much fewer properties and a whole bunch of people bidding on these properties. The last time I looked at this about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, properties were bidding up above the value of the property. That's before you get your hands on it, before you can go. So you can't go inside and inspect these things. They're locked up. There's a lot of them got people in them. So you're going to have to evict. Then you get them out. Then you open it up. Then you go surveil the damage. So you're buying it sight unseen. There's a lot of risk. Back in the day when I was doing it in 09, 10, 11, first of all, you were getting very good discounts that made the risk worth it. And a lot of them were vacant because people had boogied.
Yeah.
Now they're hunkered down for, all a bunch of reasons we know, the coronavirus stuff.
Yeah.
So I would not advise, that's my advice, is to tread very carefully. I would not go there now. I would wait until things change if you want to do that. There's a ton of research you got to do in each property before you go bid at the trustee's sale. You got to know what's happened on the chain of title with that property. So.
Wow. So that I guess that kind of brings up a little something else here. So I've recently been talking to some people that have had some title issues.
Okay.
Do you have someone on your staff that does the title, like checks the title history and all of that?
Yes, you can, depends on the title issues, if it's worth dealing with. You can actually, if you have a good relationship with your title company, this is how I vet my title companies. What will they give me? Okay. And it doesn't cost them but pennies. Ask them for a run sheet. Okay. We used to call it a title run in California. It's a run sheet here. And that just gives you raw data to go look up any liens and encumbrances on that property. Okay. It's not 100% accurate. You don't get complete accuracy until you go to title. They do a commitment letter and all that kind of jazz, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's enough for me to move forward on. Okay. So if most of the title companies I've dealt with here will give that to you. Ran into one in Houston that wouldn't. They are automatically on my blacklist. So, and it doesn't cost them any money. It costs them nothing. So, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
So yeah, these are opportunities that, like I said, these are deals that everybody throws in the trash, but they don't have to be. There is a way to, if you got somebody knowledgeable and expert in these things, we will get them done. If the highest likelihood of getting these things done are if there's only one lien on the property, that's one deed of trust, and we've got 100% cooperation from the seller. Most overwhelming amount of times that we haven't gotten these through is because the seller stopped cooperating for whatever reason. We have to have their 100% cooperation. We've got to get a lot of documents from them. We've got to get 2 years tax returns, 2 months bank statements, 2 pay periods of pay stubs. They've got to fill out a financial statement. They've got to write, they got to notice us on all possible lien holders, HOA, et cetera. There's work to be done on their end. And I liken a short sale because of we're using virtually the same documentation with a little bit of variation as they had to submit to their loan officer to get into the loan. So essentially we're doing a loan in reverse. Okay. The bank, they get out of this problem, and the bank's going to eat thousands of dollars, which is a nice day. So
what are some of, like, if you were going to go and do a short sale
Yes.
and you've got the property, you've got, the sellers on board, can you walk us through the process? Because I've never heard the process from anyone else. And so that's why I was like, I didn't come on.
I remember you told me that you've seen another short sale expert and they didn't tell you any of this stuff. And then we'd walk through it. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is go make contact with the seller. Because I'm the principal. Okay. I'll tell you what I do. If an investor comes along, they're not going to do all of this. They're going to pass it to us and we do all this. But let's pretend that I'm talking to a room full of realtors like I did in Houston last month or earlier this month. So what you're going to do is you're going to walk in, meet the seller. You're going to get them to sign a listing agreement. And they're going to sign a purchase agreement. And then you're going to give them a list of the required financials that they're going to have to give you. Okay. They're going to give you 2 years tax returns, 2 months bank. I think it's 2 months bank statements. They change. Pay stubs, financial statement, and they're going to have to give you a hardship letter. And there's some other documents that I'm not just rattling off right now. Once we get all of that, and that's a big if. They got to get us everything. We submit the entire package to the loss mitigation department of the lender, of the servicer. Okay. This is back in the early days, it took 30 to 45 days to get one done. If it's just one loan on the house. Okay. Now it's 4 to 12 months. When we get a heavy flow of these things, it's going to be on the longer side of time. That's due to the increased regulations imposed on us by Dodd-Frank back in 2009. Okay. So just more stuff and stuff the lender has to go through. Okay. So basically it's a paper chase. And what will happen is we submit all the paperwork and we get a HUD-1 from the estimated HUD-1 from the title company. Okay. And then they will either order a BPO, broker's price opinion, or what they're doing more often now, and they're probably going to shift over to, is a full-blown appraiser by a licensed appraiser. Once they get all that back, they will come back to us. They will counter some price. Let's say we agree. And then they'll come back and they'll issue a short sale approval letter, price, terms, and conditions. And we have an addendum we use on with the buyer to tighten everything up. There's no negotiating. The buyer's going to pay what the price is and terms and conditions and everything that we have. We can't afford, this is too much work for us to have a buyer equivocate and try to weasel and negotiate. We can't do that. These are too difficult already. So then we go and we hopefully close with the buyer. So that's the process in a nutshell.